Yo, we are starting episode one. Episode one. Yo, thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening. And I got my boy in here, one of my business colleagues, the Mr. Raul Lara from Brand New Promotions, hanging out with us today. Raul, what's good?
Life, man. It's Friday. Glad to be here.
So Raul and I like to get together every few often, and we'll like grab breakfast and talk about life and business and stuff like that, and how to improve each other's lives, and also Raul's real big on value exchange, personal business, whatever it may be, or anything he's involved in. So Raul's coming hanging out with us today. Had another guest actually planned today. I don't say flake that on, but just life and business happens. So Raul was able to come through. Raul was gonna be a guest anyway, but he was kind of come through and flex his schedule a little bit, which is advantage of being a business owner. So Raul, I really appreciate you coming out today.
No problem. No problem.
So Raul, what's good, man? So to get started, tell the people a little bit about you. Like who is Raul and how'd you get started Brand New Promotions?
Oh man, if I had to put that in a soundbite, I'm born and raised in North Dallas, so McKinney to be exact. It's a suburb outside of Dallas, and always been an entrepreneur. Always been into music, into art, design, things like that. And over time, I just had the good fortune enough or the sense to kind of just build on the little talents and interests that I had, and that ended up coming around full circle. And now I have a branding company. We specialize in branded apparel like screen print and embroidery and promotional products. And really what we do is we help other people bring their ideas to life. And so entrepreneur, big brother, son, not a family man yet, but a lot of good stuff going.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So as far as Brand New Promotions, now you say you specialize in custom apparel and promotional products. So technically, Raul and I are rivals because obviously everybody knows I'm in the same business. But what I stress to Raul a lot, and he knows, is that there's enough for us. There's enough food for us all. So we always try to get together and talk about, okay, hey, let's just partner up on some projects. And if he needs my help, if he knows if he extends himself out to me, I'm there for him if I can, and kind of vice versa. So with that being said, Raul, what's one of the biggest parts of being a business owner for with Brand New Promotion? What's one of the biggest things?
What do you mean when you say biggest things?
So for you, what's the most important thing for you in business for serving your clients? I guess I should ask that.
It would definitely be the biggest thing is in the experience, and the experience is in how we manage any particular project, because customer service is one thing. Somebody can be nice to you while they're doing business with you, or while you're doing business with them, you can be nice to them. But it doesn't always say that their experience is going to match with that customer service. So the customer experience would be, are you following up with them in a timely manner? Are you understanding their requests? Listening to what they're wanting, because they're not always going to tell you what they want, but if you can help guide them into making a decision and making that process easy and also delivering on time, they're a lot more likely to do business with you again in the future.
Okay. Now you say customers don't always tell you what they want. Now I've experienced that a lot from the branding side. So what are tools you use to kind of get people to kind of tell you what they want? Like how do you get them to express, hey, listen, because people, and it's nothing wrong. It's just, customers kind of have a tendency to kind of talk kind of vaguely because, sometimes they're not sure. So what kind of tactics do you use to kind of get them to pull that out of them?
Well, one thing that I'm sure you can understand is whenever a customer comes to you, and especially in our business, which is there's so many options, but at the same time, there's so many details to get it exactly right to the finished product.
Right.
When they come to you, they have something in mind, whether it's a design or a purpose. And so I always ask, what is this for? So if I know what this is for, then I can help bridge that gap on, all right, this is something that we want, whether it's something we're going to give away, something that we're going to sell, here's a budget, an event, then that can help us. And it's also important to be knowledgeable of your products and services. That way you can help them with that decision-making process. And so rather than me trying to guess at certain things, and I think
Right.
sometimes that's where we lose our rapport with the client or a prospect, is we try to guess at what they want, And when what I found to be more valuable is to ask them, just questions to help them better define what it is that we're looking for together. So if they know the idea, the direction that they want to go, and I have a good depth or knowledge of my product line, then I can help bridge that gap and get them something that they want.
So, being familiar with your product line, do you have particular clients that you go after versus like the type of clients that kind of come to you, like, whether it's a referral or, like you said, some people kind of know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an ideal client like, so good example, who do you typically target to work with, I guess?
So my background is heavy in the branded apparel like screen print and embroidery. So those go on people. So when it comes to promotional products, it can be something like a pin or a cup. Those also go to people, but it's less costly, and you can lose some of those items. When it comes to branded apparel, you need people to wear it and to support it. So whether it's a message for clients or an event that people want to promote and get out there, or a particular branding profile that a client wants for their company, for their internal staff, that's kind of where I guess I go with it. So it's like who has teams or who are geared towards people. So not only are we in the promotional business, we're in the people business. So we want people to have an interest and to hold on to our product. And so it's really about bridging that, and then that comes in all kind of different variety. So if they're coming to us, awesome, that's not a problem, and we're happy to do business with them. But when it comes to seeking out people, it really comes to timing a lot of the time. Timing and profile, know what we're going after.
Right. Do you have a particular industry that you try to target? So for example, for me particularly, I target a lot of so I talk like restaurants, nonprofits, and we do a lot of brand merch, like a lot of band merch for people. So kind of help with like fundraising, stuff like that. And I meet a lot of independents who want to do like clothing lines and stuff like that. So do you have a particular niche that you try to go after, or?
I mean, it's definitely service industry based. So like restaurants, like you mentioned, landscape construction, things like that.
Okay. So out of your industries, which ones are your favorites?
I mean, I enjoy.
I'm not going to ask you which ones you dislike. I'm going to ask you, kind of what are your favorites.
No, it's all good because you say favorites, and I think sometimes we get caught up in like I guess when you ask me that question, I look at that and kind of like I'll be putting myself in a box or painting myself in a corner.
Right.
But I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy the learning of different industries, and I think that's probably one of the greatest values that I take from the company when I talk with clients is because there's a variety of industries and the variety of dynamics. So that helps me out with my questions, not only because I'm trying to see what they want, but because I have an interest for what they do, because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is help what they do better and make it look great in that process.
Okay. That's what's up then. All right. So think about it like this. What would you say are some of your, as a business owner, what would you say are some of your struggles that you see in business? And then like when you're working with clients, what are some struggles or some hangups you kind of see working with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are like some similarities you might see as hangups or kind of business struggles, or like, hey, you know what? A lot of our clients struggle with this, and so because we've struggled with it, you can help them address it. Or what would you say are some struggles? I should say, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the biggest challenge or the biggest cancer that can come to a business at any phase would be becoming comfortable, becoming complacent. Because when you become complacent, we naturally start to cut corners or see what we can do less. And when it comes into where these business struggle at is a lot of times when they're not doing well on businesses, they cut marketing costs.
Right.
And to me, that's like a shooting yourself in the foot, because if people don't know about you, if people don't see you, guess what? You're forgotten. And we live in a day and age where there's more competitors than ever. There's convenience, microwave society where things can show up at your doorstep, pretty quick. So if you're not out there competing and not just for There's a variety of ways that you can market, but for eyeballs, for attention,
Right.
then it's only a matter of time. And I've seen it countless of times. I've been in this industry for over 5 years. I've been in business for over 10, and it just you see the history, the repetition. You see these symptoms like, oh, like they're doing this or they're not doing this. It's only a matter of time before it falls, and you see a for lease sign up. And this situation with the COVID has really exposed a lot of businesses.
Yeah, exposed a lot of people.
And you also see the ones that still add value. In this day and age, where they're giving away free stuff, incentivizing employees, or just taking care of their customers or employees. Those are going to be the people, I believe, that are going to last. And the other one would be, I said the no marketing. And I forgot the other one. You asked me. It was those 2-part questions.
Well, it was where do you see struggles in your own business versus what you see your clients doing in their struggles, and how they overlap?
Oh, that's great. All right. So I guess with my business,
and you can use COVID as an example. Like, COVID happened. How did you kind of restructure business to kind of keep things business steady and things like that?
Well, in my business, for those of you who don't know, I started as sales and marketing manager for a different apparel decoration company. And so there was some things I was privy to, some things I wasn't. So now that we are across the board in a variety of products, we work with a variety of suppliers, and I manage it all. That's would probably be the biggest challenge, would just be, how there's so many spinning plates to make sure that there's also a flow going. And so that also what separates self-employed business owners to actual business owners would be having a system in place, having a process, that way that they're not always the magic. And so that's something that I'm transcending to as well. But I would say that's true for a lot of other people. And one of the things that I geared, especially because we've never experienced this before, first time we've gone through a pandemic in our lifetime. So one of the industries or groups of my clients that dwindled to nearly nothing were people that do events, networking groups.
Yeah, network contributed a lot for a lot of clients. So I have a lot of, and actually I meant to say that. So I have a lot of event marketing clients, and so a lot of them just like put stuff on hold, like completely. And so it's like, okay, well, what we're gonna do now? And so that brought a lot of attention to like my client base. And I used to have our boss that used to say, like in business, you never want to have, you always want to have at least 5 main clients, like, for cash flow purposes. Because like if you lose one, I mean, obviously you never plan a pandemic, but like if you lose one, the other 4 can kind of compensate till you can replace that one. And so I get it, because like that really affected a lot, the whole event marketing thing. Like,
for sure, it's some people's livelihood, and for us, we can sit there and be like, and freak out, or we can adjust. And I looked at who were the people that were still going, who were some of these essential businesses,
right?
And that's where I live, there's a lot of construction going on, a lot of maintenance, things like that. And so those were fortunately to what kept me afloat. There were some people that we helped start businesses, and some of the you'd be surprised how many businesses start up in a depression or in a downturn, in an economic downturn. So I mean, we're just there to help with that. So it's not only am I there to be a glorified order taker for these people, but I'm here to help them in their journey of being entrepreneurs themselves and growing their business.
So what were some things that you were suggesting to some of your clients to kind of keep them afloat?
Could you repeat that again?
So what were some things that you would recommend to some of your clients? Like you said, some clients, they kind of dwindled because, like I said, they didn't keep up with the marketing. What were some marketing ideas that you can recall that you kind of suggest to some of your clients to kind of say, hey, you know what, this COVID's happening, or I know this is affecting your business the way it is. Here's some things you can do to kind of keep things moving and to progress. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember there's that curbside service thing starting to happen, and more video, or like I said, not order taking, more visual things you have to do, like online meetings, Zoom calls. So what would you recommend to some of your clients?
Well, the tchotchkes, the promotional products was something that I recommended to the clients, and then that we did. One in particular was a dog training facility.
Oh, cool.
Since they didn't have people coming in and out, they also did a great job with their social media, keeping up with that, and they had a couple of pets of their own that were somewhat like celebrities on their social media page. So we had tumblers, we had bags that they would send their clients, and it was a promotional product package, and we even made a special chapstick which highlighted one of their dogs. It was like cool. A special Chinese. I forgot the dog's name, but I thought it was cool as well, because there's so many businesses that freak out, that become fear based, and then they retract. They stop doing the things that help made them successful, and when they do that, momentum can be a helpful or a hurtful thing depending on which way you're going. So that was something that was really exciting to help them piece together. And when you do that as well, anytime you're able to help people in more ways than one, you add a value there, and you become a resourceful person in their repertoire whenever they may need it down the road. If people only knew me for shirts, I get ordered for shirts, but that would also limit me. And there's so many different ways that I can help people. And to any entrepreneur that's out there, if there's multiple ways that you can help somebody, you're always going to stand out in the pack.
Cool. So I was going to say, so as far as the marketing side and bringing attention to things what people are doing, what would you say is a good idea to recommend to people to go? So a good example, you see like, okay, business is happening, it's slowing up, you're retracting because you're reacting to whatever's going on. What are some things that you would do in your business to kind of throw some ideas at people? Or for example, if somebody's listening, so whoever's listening, watching right now, what would you suggest somebody will be some good ideas depending on the industry? So you're pitching to me. And let's say I didn't do promotional product. I just strictly just did advertising and branding and design. What were some things you would kind of recommend to me to do to not retract in marketing?
Man, show people what you're doing. Thank God we live in a day and age where you can post something on social media, show hundreds of people, and it not cost you a dime.
Right.
So there's never these days we don't have excuses of not having enough money. When you can post on social media, it's free to set up an account, post on there, and let people know what you're doing. Let people know that you're alive, you're still there.
Right.
If you're not doing any business, put content out there, share a message, educate people in what it is that you're doing, and that'd be a way that could bring more life, more attention to your business if you're not doing that already. And that would be my recommendation, to share and post content, create content.
So what do you say to people that kind of lead with, hey Raul, I don't have any money? Because one thing not to have a budget, it's one thing not to understand what your budget should be. I think a lot of business owners don't really get that, the importance of marketing and having a budget and kind of allocating for it. So how do you react when they go, well, Raul, I want to do all this, but I ain't got a budget? Oh, I don't have any money. So they say I don't have money. That's kind of a different context.
Yes. Well, obviously, as you know, they'd be in a different place in the sales process. But my question would be, do they have a plan? Because if you don't have a plan, it doesn't. None of the other stuff matters.
Right.
Money, business idea, none of that matters. And one of my favorite sayings is, "Broke pockets never stopped anybody. Only broke minds have."
Hey, that's what's up.
We
need to put that on a shirt and put it down.
Nice. I mean, you know what's up, man. You're a true blue entrepreneur, and you're just gonna make it happen. Anybody that's serious about entrepreneurship or just making it in this life will have to rise above their circumstances. And that's probably my biggest thing. And you mentioned what they can do to continue on their business in this downturn if they don't have any money. But at the very least, my biggest thing is always invest in yourself, personal development, because your business can only grow as big as you are.
Gotcha. I'm real big on telling people or advising people. I can't tell you anything because you do what you want to do, but I like to advise people that when people speak about reinvesting it back into your business. I'm real big on like, if you have your plan, like you said, what you want to do, you should always be working on marketing ideas. Because for me, it's always been like, okay, marketing is really just a mix. So I think people are kind of sometimes looking for like that one answer. Like, hey, this one thing's gonna fix all and be the end all be all to fix my problem in business or whatever. And I think a lot of people don't really realize, hey, you know what? You need about at least, I would say 3 to 5 things in your marketing mix. Like, you know, you may do some direct mail, you may do some email marketing. Like say you have promotional products for events and you understand how you want to communicate with all the spectrum of things you can do out here with social media, TikTok, or like I say, promotional items. Events kind of slow down a little bit. So how do you be more advantageous in those spaces, but have that mix and then take that mix and go, okay, these things are working. This is kind of working, but I kind of want to stick with it. So how can I fix and tweak that? And then these just ain't working, so let me cancel those out. But the things that are working, how to scale up. And so I try to advise people like, you know, figure out a mix outside of just trying to have one thing. Like I say, because promotional products by themselves aren't the only answer. Just doing social media by themselves aren't the answer. It's kind of like a collective of things. I mean, what you think?
Well, I agree with you. And it's important going back. You mentioned marketing being a mix, you know, and there's this thing that we learned in marketing class where it talks about the marketing mix,
right?
You know, and that's the 4 P's: this product, promotion, placement, and price. Yeah, you know, so and there's not one silver bullet for business, unfortunately. So it is a mix. And man, one of the things that you were saying was.
Nah, you good, man. We talk about all kind of stuff, bro. So it's all good.
Yeah. I just it was in and then it came out. Talk about the marketing mix, moving it up. So yes, okay, all right. Often we're looking at, you know, what is, we still unconsciously look for that silver bullet, like what is the way I should market. But what I've also found was a lot of the time, the people that are struggling or having these challenges, they don't exactly know who their customer is.
Right.
Know?
Yeah.
They say their customer's everybody.
Yes,
yeah. Which would be awesome.
That's a nail about it for me. I'm like, you can't target everybody. I mean, look, even Jesus targeted just certain people.
Right.
He helped everyone, but he kind of had a focus and it spread out because of faith. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah.
Right. You know, and if you get your message right, you know, people will hear your voice. So if you know who your customer is, if you know who your client is, know who you're trying to target, then you can come up with a plan to how to reach those people. You know, right. And it may not always be simply through social media. You know, collecting emails a overlooked tool. And even underutilized in small business as far as, you know, staying on top of mind. And depending on what product you have, maybe you're a tax business and you're seasonal. Maybe you're a summer camp and you're seasonal as well. But maybe you're an insurance company and you're all year. And, right. You know, it's every month, you know, that you need to be out there doing something, whether it be events online or making touches with people that have signed up with you in the past. And, you know, there's a number of different ways. So it's all about, you know, what is the objective, and with that you can formulate a plan. So
one thing I struggle in the business, I have to be mindful of it because it can lapse for me, is like follow up with clients. So, you know, I'm working on clients. Me and the team, we're doing our stuff, you know, and we knock a project out. You know, where are you as far as like following up with clients? Because that's kind of a big thing, because there's always the new clients that you're trying to get for your targeted efforts. But like as a defensive move, what are you doing, or how do you feel about following up with, like, you know, current clients? Because that's your base that keeps you kind of afloat.
So is it one that you had recently did a project for, or one that you've done a project for in the? I
mean, it doesn't matter, because think about it. You've proven and you showed up on what you said you were going to. You delivered. Past or present. How do you stay kind of in tune with the clients to go, hey, because remember, people, you kind of say, oh, I did the work, now on to the next one. How do you remember to stay with the old clients to kind of follow through? Because I mean, that's your bread and butter. Like, you know, like in politics, you have to have a base that will follow you regardless, but you have to build a structure to make sure that they're going to still be there. So what do you do to, like, hey client, you know, this is coming up, these holidays are coming up, or, you know, what are you doing for your clients to kind of remind them to? What do you do for follow-up?
Well, there's levels to everything, especially when it comes to me and relationships. So I have clients that we have a good enough relationship. We can talk on the phone, give them a call. Hey, this, and also when I am talking with them, I ask them questions about their needs. So, like we have a landscaping company that we work with, do T-shirts for them, every few months. Right. But however, when it comes around fall, October, November, they're looking for jackets. So right. It's like to be top of mind. Okay, I understand this business or this kind of business or this industry. If right. you have several clients or several prospects in this industry, should make it easier for you. How can I tailor a message that can not, I'm trying to sell you something, but I am providing a service that you're going to need ahead of time.
Right.
Ahead of time. So now, not only are you selling me something, hey, you're looking out for me. Oh, I'm going to need this. You reached out to me before. And even if they don't buy right away, it provides that rapport for them to buy, to do business with you, in a couple of weeks, in right. a month, and also better understand their situation. So they may be ready to go right now. They'll be like, "Hey, we have some new employees. Right. Give me about a month, and we'll have sizes." Cool, and write that down. Write that down. And
do you keep client notes? Like, hey, my client says these. I noticed some things about my client. Do you do client notes?
I do. So as far as keeping up with them and looking back,
right.
that varies from time to time. There's this great book called "Listening as a Martial Art." Oh, cool. And I really enjoyed that book. And one of the big takeaways that came from it was listen so intently, listen so intent to what they're saying that you catch what they're saying, what they're not saying.
Yeah.
It can make you a better conversationalist and to ask better questions to where you become to intimately know that person on whatever desired level that is. That way, and I care about my clients that much to where I know that they'll need it this time, so I'm going to do my best. Because not only am I looking at you as a customer, I'm looking at you as a business partner.
Right.
And I want them to look at me too. Because it could be that salesman or that guy that does T-shirts and or say, let's give another business for example. Insurance. Say you do insurance, but you only come around when you're trying to sell something. But however, are you checking up with them seasonal? If their policy is about to expire, are you touching base? And then that just shows a really good trait from you as a business person, I believe. And I think people notice and appreciate that.
Okay. That's cool. That's what's up. So, hey, who's the author of that book?
Oh,
do you remember?
That's a great question. I don't have that, but I will get that to you.
Yeah, shoot that to me because we read a lot. So
it's funny. The guy that wrote that, I actually met him at an ASI event.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And he was like one of the biggest sales manager guys. He wrote a couple books, and got that from him.
All right, I'm gonna check that out, man. I'm gonna add that to the reading list. I got like hundreds of books I gotta read.
I know, right?
So as a goal, I try to do at least 3 to 5 books a month.
Nice. That's really awesome. I try to do 2. Yeah. I usually do like 1. So what? Any cool ones that you're going through right now?
So what's funny is I just finished reading Aesop's Fables.
Okay, haven't heard of that.
Okay, so Aesop was like an old Greek philosopher, storyteller.
Oh, okay.
And so he would use animals as a main character to tell these tales. And so at the end, you get like kind of a kind of like a proverb, I guess, when it's done. You learn a lesson. And so I was reading that one, and it's called Aesop's Fables. So they used to do cartoons of them. I don't know if you remember like Bullwinkle cartoons. Mm-hmm. So like one of the Segway cartoons they would do would be like an Aesop Fable.
Oh, nice.
Like there was a fox went by, and he saw these grapes, but the grapes so high he couldn't get them. And so then he goes, well, I didn't want them grapes anyway. They probably sucked. Mm-hmm. But like, people who have goals don't want them bad enough. Then they try to turn sour. Yeah. Because they can't reach their goals.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they have like a lot of analogies and stories like that. So that's what I recently read. And then I read The Elements of Investing by Muriel. I know I'm chopping his name up. He's like a real known real estate guy, but it's The Elements of Investing. I know it's like a blue book. Mm-hmm. I finished that one kind of around the same time because I'm trying to do more stock investing, and so I'm thinking about retirement, which is weird, but you're making money. It's like, well, you got to put the money somewhere,
yeah,
and it has to grow,
yeah.
So that's kind of,
yeah. Yeah, power of compound interest, man. It's a big thing. We don't talk about it much.
We don't talk about it enough. I'll do an episode. I'll do an episode about it. We're just talking about investing in. So we'll see. All right. So market. Oh, so let's get to this. So as everybody knows, the whole podcast is all about, the whole hustle after life mentality is, hustle hard to live the way you want to, laugh as much as you can, as often as you can, and remember life is short, so enjoy it while it lasts. And so for you, your hustle is the promotional products and, custom apparel industry. So what are the things that keep things in perspective for you? Like, what puts a smile on your face? What keeps you, like, if you have a bad day at work, what keeps things in perspective? Go, well, I got today.
Man, gratitude for sure. Being grateful, and that's what helps me put things in perspective, because you have to have been through the rain to appreciate the sunshine. You have to have been maybe had a better relationship to appreciate the good relationship. And I look at this as this is an opportunity. This privilege to be able to do what I do. All my time, you let me know about this last minute. I'm like, oh man, I did have stuff to do, but we have a pretty decent relationship. I got a lot of respect for you, and we're definitely iron sharpens iron. So just that, man, camaraderie. Like nobody our age talks about that stuff.
No, I don't. Yeah.
People follow. We look for convenience so often that we miss blessings in so many different ways, and that's really what it is. This is an opportunity. There's people that I see that have a dream, that have a vision, that have something that they want to do, and they come to me to help make that happen, and that's the way I look at it, and you appreciate that so much more because it ties into your identity. It ties into my purpose and to what I'm doing. So I'll go above and beyond. I'll go the extra mile, because to me it's more than business. It's something personal. And I look at what I'm doing. I'm fairly young. I'm still early in the process, and that too. It's put me on a different trajectory and compared to where things could have been. And that's what helps me put things in perspective. And the fact that I look at this life and what I do like I'm planting seeds. I can only imagine how things will look when they come into fruition.
Right. I'm real big on that too, like planting seeds. So I always say, like, at least plant, if you can't, like, if you need somebody to help you plant 10 seeds or, lay some brick, at least lay one by yourself. You at least have enough strength to lay down one.
Why you say that?
Well, think about it. You don't really know. So I'm real big, just from a faith-based standpoint, I'm real big on, like, God gave everybody a talent to be either self-sufficient, contribute to your family, or, like, help the community, right? And so I think a lot of people struggle on what that is. When people talk about purpose and what they should be doing, like, why should I get up in the morning?
Yeah.
Right. And so when you plant a seed, you don't really can determine the harvest of it, right? Depending on what kind of fruits what kind of crops you plant, right? Like I've heard Les Brown, he was saying, like, oh, if you plant a bamboo, it takes like 5 years for it to like even like start rooting up.
Yeah.
And people going, well, this ain't working, blah blah blah. But you still need to lay it down because you believe that, hey, in the long run, this crop will benefit a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I just always feel like, when you get up in the morning, if you can't do it 10,000 things, at least just do one to get you closer to go, or lay down on one brick, and then time will go by, and you're like, oh man, the grass is green. Like, I see it's uprooting. Or like, hey, I built a wall. And next thing you know, hey, I got a corner. Hey, I got room. Now I got a roof. And so it just starts adding up. And so the blessing part for me comes in when you look back and go, I didn't know what it was gonna look like when I started dropping the seeds. But now that the harvest is here, it's like, oh man, I didn't realize how much I had planted. Like John Appleseed. It's going around planting trees everywhere. You ever heard of that? I don't know how old you are if you know that. You heard the wise tale of John Appleseed? Yeah, so you just plant seeds everywhere, bro. That's all it is. But at least do one. Sometimes you do need like several people to build a business, but to get going, it just takes you. And so I think so that's why I'm real big on like the whole planting a seed thing. I've always been like that. I don't know why I'm wired that way, but I've heard and I've had a lot of no's in my life. So like my knowledge base comes from like, oh, well, I can't help you, TK, for whatever reason. Good or bad, doesn't really matter. Just I needed something. to move forward. I didn't get it, so I just kept going. I learned it on my own, and I tried to get better, or at least to where I didn't screw it up to where I can kind of move forward. Like my clients can tell I'm winging it. When I was winging it at the time, and so I just try to plant something that'll, like you say, plant a seed, whether it's with a relationship with a person. Just say check on people, make sure they're doing all right. Is there anything I can do to help? But yeah, man, you gotta plant a seed, at least one. And I see a lot of people. I see people have tons of seeds, bro, like just handfuls of seeds, but they won't plant them. I can't figure out why.
What do you mean by that? Can you give an example?
Let's see. I know people that.
How do they know they have the seeds, or do they know that they know?
I don't know. I don't think people realize the value of the seeds that they have. Because a lot of people like to compare things. So like you go in where I see all these people doing this, I see all these people doing that, and why I got the same. So good example. Most people on average got the same resources, same time, same talent. But you see somebody doing this, but they're more prosperous. But you're not understanding, like, everything is a seasonal thing. Like, some depending on when the time of year you plant your seed, it may grow a certain way or whatever. So that's kind of one of the things that you gotta just be mindful of. So that's kind of why I did it. So all right, so we gotta wrap up. So one more thing we get to. So since life is so short, what are 3 things you hope to accomplish before that you haven't accomplished yet? And it might not be 3, but like, what are some things you have, either in business or just in personal life, you haven't accomplished yet? What did you like to?
Man, well, the easiest one is financial freedom or financial independence.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on. Financial freedom.
And that is something that is I believe a noble cause, because what I've noticed and because everything that I do, I feel like might be a little,
out there. Crazy?
No, eccentric, because I feel like most of everything I do is purposeful. I try to do it with intent. I try to add value to the world and basically expand the kingdom. That's basically, if I could feel like, what I do in a nutshell. But to become rich, we used to think that selfish people become rich, but it's like no, broke people are selfish people, because they're only thinking about themselves. You can't help anybody else
if you hoard it.
If you hoard it. If you choose to keep it to yourself, because if you're to become successful, guess what? You have to help people, and I think that's what will keep me in tight. My values will hopefully keep me aligned, and keeping good people around, like you around me, keep me accountable.
Well, that's what's up then. Well, hey, we're going to end on that note, accountability with Raul and Brand New Promotions. Raul, real quick, just shout out where people can find you.
You can find me. You can find us online at brandnewpromotions.com. Search us on social media, Brand New Promo TX for Texas, and you can find me, Raul G Lara, or at Raul in Rotation. Appreciate you.
Hey, love you. Thanks for coming out, brother. Yo.
Hey, this is DJ K, host of the Universe of the